All right, I am Sarah Penhaligon. I am the director and founder of Center Valley Animal Rescue. We are located in Quilcene, Washington, and we started up the organization in 2002 as a foster care network. It was a group of friends, and we just started rescuing animals. I've been in the veterinary field since '95, and I saw a huge need. Quickly, my friends and family got saturated in animals, so we started up the organization. And in 2004, we moved to our current site and we started building up the center. And we're an organization that takes in all different types of animals. And we're very unique in what we do because we take in everything. We do farm animals, cats, dogs, reptiles, birds, small animals, and wildlife. So there isn't much that we say no to. You can see in this picture, there's bison in the picture. We rescued a herd of bison about 2 years ago now, and they were starving to death. And so we took them in, rehabilitated them, and we got all but this one to a sanctuary in Texas. When we moved out to our site, it was a disaster. It had been logged about 6 months earlier, and they did a horrible job logging. They actually logged right through Donovan Creek, which runs through the middle of our property. They filled in ponds and wetlands with stumps and logs so that they could drive over them with logging equipment and get the logs out. So you can kind of get a visual of what this place had looked like when we moved out here. The 4,000 square foot building that was on site was completely dry rot. And so we had demolition days, tore the building apart, and we've rebuilt the building. We've restored the property and replanted and restored the wetlands. So we have natural wildlife habitat. There are about 5 to 6 acres that are set aside with for creek and wetland buffers for wildlife and natural area. The rest of the property we have turned into pastures with lots of farms, outbuildings for the many different animals that we take in. And so we are an organization, we run off of our volunteers. Here is a great picture of our Art of Mary's. They both volunteer on every Friday and have been very dedicated to our organization, and they're out in one of the barns helping take care of some of our quarantine animals. All new intake animals do go through a quarantine period, and so all of the animals that we get here do spend some time in this barn. And we also provide a permanent sanctuary for animals that are less adoptable or have special needs and we can't find placement for them. We pretty much consider all of our animals adoptable, but we have to find just the right home. And so that is one of our specialties, is that we can provide long-term care for all of the animals that come in here. So we do, as you can see, we've got dogs, we've got small animals like rabbits, we have the farm animals. Magnum, the cat in this picture, is one of our incontinent cats. We have a whole room full of incontinent cats. And so those are animals that are not likely to get adopted, and so they end up spending a good deal of time here, sometimes the rest of their lives. When these animals come in, we have a full medical facility. And so this is a picture of one of our volunteer veterinarians, as well as myself. I am also a licensed technician, as well as a licensed wildlife rehabilitator. This is a patient that came in not too long ago that was in pretty critical condition and needed a lot of rehabilitation. We took in a group of these dogs that were being severely neglected, and we provided all of the care that they needed to get them healthy. The goal when we do these things is to get them healthy and find homes for them and get them into a loving home where they're going to spend the rest of their lives. We do a lot of work with law enforcement, and so we will go in with law enforcement and help them seize animals and get these animals to safety. in our medical facility. Sometimes we're doing emergency surgeries on them. Other times we might be running one of our low-cost spay and neuter clinics and actually helping our low-income community members get their animals the care that they need. We provide spay neuter services as well as vaccination, low-cost vaccination services and microchip services. So our goal is to not have to rescue all of the animals. We also provide pet food to all the local food banks, and people can come here at any time. If they cannot afford pet food, we will provide it for them. And so these are just some of the ways that we're trying to help animals stay in the homes that they're in and not have to go in and rescue them. But when that fails, then we are definitely willing to go in and actively rescue animals. So this is one of our goats that we took in, Sweetie. We took her in about 5 months ago, and you can tell she was a disaster. We see a lot of these things, unfortunately. She was severe neglect. She had maybe never had her feet trimmed. At least they had not been trimmed for many, many years. She was actually walking on her knees when we took her in because her feet were so overgrown and painful that she couldn't stand. So we took her in. We obviously gave her appropriate pain management. We got full x-rays of her. Our volunteer veterinary crew came in and did everything that we could for this goat. And we ended up with her in these cute splints. And she ended up making a good recovery. And you can tell she's not 100% normal still, but she's doing really, really well. And she actually just got adopted by another sanctuary to be friends with another handicapped goat that has a hard time getting around. And so this is just one example of the type of abuse and neglect cases that we see. She also came in with 3 other goats as well as a horse, all needing a lot of medical care. Some of these animals, when we take them in, we might need to be erecting slings because they've been down for so long. Other animals are in better shape, and we're able to get them spayed and neutered and basic medical care, and they are getting back out to loving homes. And so, yeah, we've got all different aspects of care that we are giving. These are some of our incredible volunteers. We are a volunteer network, and so we run off of volunteers here. And so we count on our volunteers to do just about everything. So the dogs in this picture, these are actually all abuse neglect cases. And so the Australian Shepherds, they came out of a hoarding situation and they were feral dogs. And David, this volunteer, he came in for, close to a year working with these dogs, and to be able to get them to come up to him like that. And they have since found homes, and they've got loving families now. And it took the last one about a year to find a place. The other dog that's in this picture is another cruelty case. He was a physical abuse case that had been beaten and needed both physical and mental rehabilitation, and found an incredible home as well. And Hilo, the cat with Kyla in this picture, is one of our incontinent cats. And so these guys a lot of times come from other shelters and rescues, sometimes private people, and they just can't take care of the many needs of an incontinent cat. And so we have a whole room that is set up. It is a mess every morning when our awesome volunteers come in, and they are dedicated to getting them cleaned and taken care of. They get bathed on a regular basis. And so they're the high maintenance group, and most of them spend their life with us. So another aspect of what we do is wildlife rehabilitation, and we take in all different species of wildlife. And so you can see here, we're working with eagles, we're working with owls, we're working with tiny little chipmunks and opossums and little Douglas squirrels. We also might take in otters and bobcats. We've even had a black bear come for x-rays. We've had some cougar cubs come in for emergency care before making their way to a zoo situation in Minnesota. So we have all different things come in. We work with fish and wildlife officers as well as with the general public. So if someone finds a sick or injured wild animal, they can contact us. We can coach them through how to safely capture them and get them here. If it's a dangerous animal, it might be myself that goes out and collects the animal, or we might be working with fish and wildlife officers to safely get that animal into care. We also do a lot of education with the public about not rescuing animals. So those cute little fawns that you see every spring and early summer curled up in your yard or along your hiking trail, they don't need to be rescued. And we get them picked up every year and we reunite them with their moms. And so their moms are good moms, but they will leave them for up to 12 to 24 hours if there's humans around and it's not safe to go back. So that is also a huge aspect of what we're doing with rehabilitation, is not having to take them in for rehabilitation. So our adoptions, what we do with our domestic animals and farm animals, it is all about this. All of these happy families getting their new loved ones. And we end up finding incredible homes for these animals. And we love getting pictures from them once they get all settled into their homes, and the happy stories with how well they're doing. But the goal is definitely to get these animals into loving homes. And we welcome all of you guys to come out to Center Valley Animal Rescue and come out for a tour. So we are normally open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11 to 3. And that is non-COVID time. And so normally we're here for tours, for adoptions, and sometimes we'll set up field trips. So we'll have school groups that come out. We have groups from senior centers that come out, and all get to spend time with animals. Right now during COVID, we are doing some limited tours. We do have a lot of regulations in place to make sure that we keep everyone safe. And so they are set up by appointment only. And you can definitely feel free to give us an email or call and set up an appointment for a tour. And we would also love for you to join us at our very first virtual fundraiser. And it is going to be October 3rd. And it will be an auction as well as a celebration of Center Valley Animal Rescue. We will be sharing many stories of rescues that we've done in the last year. We will also be featuring some of our adopted animals and their families, talking about how wonderful they are. So please join us. Thank you so much.